Hi everyone, my name is An Lei. I was born and raised up in Beijing and I still live here. I've been learning English by myself for 30 years. When I look at the Chinese characters, I found they are very interesting, so I want to share you with the stories. For example, like my name, An is my family name, like Tianmen's An. And 3,000 years ago, it's a woman under a roof. And my mother's surname is Shi Stone, like a rock falling off from cliff. So my name, Lei, is three stones held up. An means peace, safe, and secure. Lei means piles of stones, open and bubbled. Chinese character is kind of a pictograph. It has been involved for over 3,000 years. When we were little kids in the school, we think it's also very hard to memorize those Chinese characters. It's hard for everybody. But there's a rule. As long as you know the rules, your learning of Chinese characters will be easier and funny. This course is used to pictures to explain the Chinese characters and help you to remember them, reduce your pain when you memorize the Chinese characters, and save you a lot of time. My course is AI enhanced. Confucius said, 学而时习之，不亦乐乎? Learning and go over it. Is it enjoyable? So I try to be 寓教于乐, edutainment. Chinese character is a key to Chinese culture. If you want to learn Chinese history, philosophy, religion, literature, calligraphy, Taiji, or even Chinese cooking, Chinese character is the key to open this door for you. How to learn this course? Here's my way. I use a picture to explain the Chinese characters involved from 3,000 years ago until today. Okay, I will give you some basic information about the characters in different period of time in ancient China. The red color symbolizes oracle inscription, 甲骨文. Archaeology inscription is a writing carved on ox blade bone or tortoise breastplate in the Shang dynasty. It's the earliest mature Chinese character. It was excavated just over 100 years ago. The golden color character is Jinwen. Jin, it means gold, but over 3,000 years ago, it symbolizes bronze, so we call it a bronze inscription. It's a character cast on bronzeware in the Shang and Zhou dynasty. So remember, both Shang and Zhou dynasties, bronze inscription exist. Because in the Shang dynasty, Chinese people already make bronzeware. We also call it Zhongdingwen. Zhong is the bronze bell, the music instrument. The character normally was on the outside. The bronze cauldron is a kind of a racial vessel. It's a tripod and a quadripod, also other containers for food or wine. The green color, we call it the xiaozhuan, seal script. It's a kind of ancient Chinese calligraphy style with delicate strokes and elegant forms. After Qin Shi Huang unified China in 221 BC, he ordered Prime Minister Li Si to create an official script of the Qin dynasty. And this is the first emperor in China, Qin Shi Huang. And he ordered to build the Great Wall and also the terracotta warriors buried around his tomb. Normally, the small seal script was written on bamboo slips or sometimes carved on mountain rocks. The black color with the yellow edge is the traditional Chinese 繁体. Traditional Chinese characters were used from ancient times to the mid 20th century. Simplified Chinese characters became popular in the mainland China after the 1950s and 60s. Traditional characters are still used in Hong Kong, Macau, and Taiwan. In overseas Chinese communities, they are frequently seen in traditional literature, calligraphy, and cultural activities. Although I was born in mainland China, I never studied traditional characters, but during my research for Chinese characters, I found the traditional Chinese characters are more interesting, it's more funny, because they have more strokes and more information in it, so I will not pass it. The funniest thing is the way I learned traditional Chinese character is in 1990s. The videotape, I watch a lot of movies from Hong Kong, so they have the subtitle in traditional Chinese. That's the way I learned it. And this is the most valuable Chinese calligraphy, 兰亭序, the preface of Orchid Pavilion. It was collected in the Palace Museum in Beijing. In 1948, before Chiang Kai-shek left to Taiwan, he brought a lot of treasures from Forbidden City in Beijing to Taipei. Among those treasures, the most valuable thing is the calligraphy, painting, and ancient books. That's the most valuable legacy of the Chinese culture. The black-colored font is Simplified Chinese, we call it 简体. In 1950s and 60s, traditional Chinese characters were simplified to boost the literacy rate. and facilitate the communications. Since then, simplified Chinese characters have been widely used in mainland China. They have fewer strokes and a streamlined structure, making them easier to read and write. This old picture promotes simplified Chinese. You can see this boy, he got a very unhappy face because 繁体难写, traditional characters hard to write. And this boy is happy. He wrote 简体不难写, simplified character, not hard to write. This is the cover of a menu issued in 1956 for the simplified characters. Why characters need to be simplified? It's a long story. In ancient China, only the emperor, he have the right to worship a god of heaven. And this is the temple of heaven, the hall of a prayer for good harvest in south of the Forbidden City in Beijing. This is 3 if the round building is for the emperor to pray for good harvest in the spring. This marble altar is called the Circle Mound altar. It's used for the emperor to worship the god of heaven on winter solstice each year. When the last emperor Puyi abdicated in 1912, China finished 2,000 years of feudal history and entered a new era. It's called the Republic of China. A warlord named Yuan Shikai, he became the first president. This is Dr. Sun Yat-sen. He compromised with him. The warlord became the first president of China, but he was too greedy. Later, he proclaimed himself as the emperor. Then Dr. Sun Yat-sen launched the second revolution. Common Chinese people was not allowed to worship a god of heaven, but they can only worship their ancestors. In China, especially southern part, you will see some beautiful traditional Chinese houses. They were ancestral temple. In the feudal dynasty, China is an agricultural country. Almost everybody was bound on the land. Most of the time, the countryside was self-controlled, autonomous. Emperor just collect tax from the countryside. The executive management only to the county level. The countryside was composed of different big families with different surnames. Normally, when people have problems with each other, it can be solved in the village within the families. If it can't be solved within the family, they will sue to the county level of the government. This status lasted until the end of Republic of China. In 1949, after the founding of the People's Republic of China, in order to improve the literacy rate, simplified Chinese was promoted all over the country. It's easier, so more and more people could be educated. Why was that? Because in ancient China, until the Republic of China, the central government doesn't care about the countryside of the people. If you have money and you can get educated, join the imperial examination system to become a civil servant in the future. If you're poor and become a farmer, become a woodcutter, and make your own living, pay tax. The PRC is a Soviet government. They make the working class as a leading force and mobilize all the people. That's including a lot of farmers in rural areas. They need the farmers to be educated and organized for struggle, fighting. Okay, so here's a comparison of the traditional Chinese and simplified Chinese. And you will find it's much easier to recognize, but there's some criticize about it. Like this one, this is love. Without the heart, how can you love? Justice without me, so I don't care. Magazine don't have this word and you cannot speak. Leading without the Tao, you cannot guide. Relatives, but you cannot see. Poor is not for your body, it's become power. Election, there's no common and become some people's privilege. Countryside, you don't see the country fellow. Okay, it makes sense. I also think simplified Chinese frustrated our culture. But here, what I want to promote is 抛弃意识形态，快乐学习汉字, abandon ideology and learn Chinese characters happily. If we look back in the history, before 221 BC, China was in the warring states period. It's chaos, different countries fighting with each other until the first emperor, Qin Shi Huang, unified China. But people in different countries use different characters. How can they communicate? There's a lot of misunderstanding. So the central government make an official character, the small script. Is also a translate of the previous characters. This is history. If we look at everything back in the history, you will accept it. So our goal is to learn the Chinese characters with fun. Okay, my parents, they were born in 1950s, and they went to school. They were not well educated, but they can read and write. And I go to school, and also I learn English. So now you have a basic idea of this course. Picture, article bound inscription, bronze inscription, small scale script, digital Chinese, simplified Chinese. And also I'll use the pinyin initials in red color, finals in blue color, the four tones, ma, 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 ma. And sometimes the character can be radical. We call it 偏旁部首. And I will use a light blue color, like this 驴 donkey as the 驴 and ma, donkey and horse, they are related. So there's a horse radical. So my course is based on 说文解字. What is 说文解字? It was the first Chinese dictionary compiled by Xu Shen almost 1,900 years ago. 说 means talk, 文 writing, 解 explain 字 character, speak writing, explain character. And what's the difference between 文 and 字 writing and character? Xu Shen said, if one symbol like mountain and hill cannot be divided like components, parts, you can't break it apart, and that is called 文. If two of the 文, the parts put together like this 月, on top part is the hill, bottom part is the mountain, you got a peak, and this is called 字. It's easy. When writing, you cannot break it, you can speak, very easy. But 字 composed of a different 文, the parts, and you have to divide it and explain them. So his dictionary is called 说文解字. But as I mentioned before, the archaeological bone inscription was discovered in 1899. But Xu Shen, he lived over 1,900 years ago. He never see the archaeological bone inscription. Not his explanation is all right. Everybody have his own limit. Not everything I say is right, but it's from my imagination, my experience, my feeling about our culture. Maybe you have different point of view or different feeling, but we are all human beings. So 3,000 years passed. Some of the information is missing. As a Chinese, I pay homage to my ancestors. They created a splendid civilization, and I want to share with you. I want you to know more about our culture and our people. My goal is to help you to learn Chinese characters stress-free.